UWITV now presents the Five Islands Campus Council meeting.
This is truly an historic event. In many ways, it is my first as the Council Campus Chair of the Five Island Campus. It is also being held during unique circumstances, a global COVID-19 pandemic, which has challenged us to meet our institutional obligation while adhering to our new 24-hour lockdown health and safety protocol. We had to move with the times and do this virtually. A few days ago, we were preparing to live stream this meeting from the campus. This morning, we are now all connected through video conference technology. I am the chairman of the Hadid Group of Companies, a family business established in 1960 here in Antigua and Barbuda. However, this role as a chairman of Five Island Campus is among my greatest honor. Thank you for the opportunity to be at the vanguard of establishing this, the fifth UWI campus. On June 26, 2019, the University Council formally announced its approval for the establishment of this campus in Antigua and Barbuda, welcoming Five Islands into the great West Indian tradition that is UWI. For over 70 years, the University of the West Indies has provided services and leadership to the Caribbean region and wider world. Despite economic, global, and natural disasters, this world-class university has produced regional and international leaders, business persons, politicians, governors general, medical practitioners, agronomists, researchers, lawyers, historians, artists, educators, and Nobel Prize winners. It continues to expand with global centers, new campus sites, and programs to harness the new generation of intellectual and creative mind within our region. The UWI has never stood still, and from its humble beginning of 33 students, it now educates approximately 50,000 across the Caribbean. This is all owed to the visionaries and educators who took to heart the UWI core belief to be an excellent global university rooted in the Caribbean, top ranked by the prestigious Time Higher Education. We now stand among the top 4% of the world's best universities, the top 2% in Latin America and the Caribbean region, and we are proudly #1 in the English Caribbean. It is on this foundation that the Five Island campus was built to serve as a hub to enable the greater participation by the UWI in the development agenda of the OECS. The success of the UWI is also due to the foresight of regional leaders and business persons whose sponsorship have ensured that no student is denied access, no matter their socio-economic background. I must take this opportunity to speak of some of the special arrangements being made by the UWI across the region. Classes are now being conducted using social media platforms, including video conferences. We also owe the debt of gratitude to the many other nations that have for many years provided scholarship opportunities to students here and throughout the OECS. With this depth of gratitude in mind, each OECS member state will be allowed access to 10 scholarships each to attend the University of the Five Island campus. I must take a moment to commend the University of the West Indies for its commitment to sharing its research, resources, and expertise with national and regional agencies in managing the COVID-19 pandemic in the Caribbean. On February 28, 2020, Vice-Chancellor of the UWI, Professor Hilary Beckel, established the UWI COVID-19 Task Force to help inform the Caribbean response to the virus threat. leveraging the university knowledge and expert to assist Caribbean in its readiness and response to the virus outbreak. The UWI through the Five Island campus provided an opportunity for the establishment of a 21st century fit for purposes campus to promote national, sub-regional, economic and social development with a focus on robust expansion of human capital. Prime Minister, the Honorable Gaston Brown, at ecumenical service before the official opening of this campus said, I quote, "This is landmark event and defining moment in our nation history. It opens a further pathway for our country growth, development and prosperity through improved education, expanded knowledge, and increased capacity of its most significant resources, it is people. The people of Antigua and Barbuda and the wider OECS have embraced this opportunity. Although our journey is beginning, we are part of a well-established institution. I wish to thank the Vice-Chancellor, Sir Hilary Beckles, champion and friend. I also thank the University Council for approving this bold decision, and a special thanks to the Steering and Implementation Committee by overseeing the continuous development of this campus. Let me also recognize and thank the hard work members of this faculty led by the principal of the Five Island campus, Professor Stafford Griffith, Director of Academic Affairs, Mr. Hiram Ford, Director of Administration and Finance, Ms. Daniela Hicklin, and President of the Five Island Campus Guild of Students, Caleb Gardner. I look forward to hearing Professor Stafford Griffith, Principal, report to Campus Council.
The report that I am about to present perhaps differs in some fundamental ways from the reports which were just presented at the annual campus council meetings of our various campuses. It differs significantly in the sense that the reports which were presented at the just concluded campus council meetings would have focused very sharply on the period 2018 to 2019. That's the academic year 2018 to 2019. At that time, the Five Islands campus was not even in existence. And therefore, our report at this inaugural council meeting for the Five Islands campus will focus on our activities beginning at the start of this current academic year. I begin, Chairman, by reflecting on the pandemic that is sweeping the world and how it has affected business at the University of the West Indies and at the Five Islands campus. And in fact, this report that I am now presenting is being done from my home as a result of the 24-hour curfew in Antigua and Barbuda. I am sure, Chair, that there are other participants of this meeting who are joining from their respective homes. Such is the nature of the COVID-19 pandemic with which we are seeking to cope. The University of the West Indies has put in place a number of measures to help the UWI community and the region as it seeks to address the challenges of COVID-19. And Chair, you have already mentioned one of the significant measures taken by the University of the West Indies, and that is the establishment of a COVID-19 task force to help the region. And that task force has also been helping the UWI community by providing advice and the written reports for consideration of the UWI community on how it might treat with this pandemic that we now have to cope with. At the Five Islands campus itself, we have established a COVID-19 working group, and that working group is chaired by the head of the School of Health and Behavioral Sciences, Sister Karen Josiah. And that working group has been helping us to take a look at what's happening across the world, to keep abreast with what is happening, and in particular to keep abreast of what is happening in the Caribbean, and has been providing advice to us on measures that we need to take at the Five Islands campus, measures that our students and our staff need to take to ensure their continued safety as we go through this period. The university itself is making extensive use of online meetings. And this meeting is only one of the many meetings that the university is having online. So we've truly converted in this period to having online meetings. We have canceled across the various campuses face-to-face classes, and we have shifted our teaching operation to that of online. And the Five Islands campus is no different in that regard. I'd like to use the opportunity to say again a warm welcome, and this time especially to members of the Five Islands Campus Council. We are pleased to welcome our new chairman of council, Mr. Aziz Hadid, CBE, who is himself an accomplished businessman who has made distinguished contributions both nationally and regionally. He is very well known. He is coming to us with a wealth of expertise from which we hope to benefit at the Five Islands campus. This Five Islands campus of which we speak is the fourth landed campus of the University of the West Indies. The UWI itself was, this campus was established in 2019, and it comes some 56 years after the last preceding campus was established, and that campus is the Cayville campus in Barbados, which was established in 1963 and started with a mere 118 students. We at the Five Islands campus have considered the way in which the other campuses have grown over time, and we look forward in a short time to grow equally strongly and to have a large student population at the Five Islands campus. One of the things about which we are rather proud is that we have started at the Five Islands campus with facilities and other resources which were not available at all to the other three landed campuses when they started. And in that sense, we have much for which to be thankful. The formal launch of this campus was marked by several events, and they included a public ecumenical service, which was held at the St. John's Cathedral in Antigua on September the 1st. And that was followed shortly after with the official launch ceremony for the campus on September the 3rd, 2019. We were very pleased with the turnout for that launch. The hall in which we held the launch was packed to capacity. And we are pleased to note the active participation of the Governor General of Antigua and Barbuda, and the Prime Minister and the members of his cabinet. We are also pleased to note that the launch was attended by representatives of the Caribbean community from many countries across the Caribbean. It was truly a momentous occasion for the region. And then we went on to hold our first matriculation and welcome ceremony on September 27, 2019. We were very pleased that our Vice-Chancellor was able to participate fully in this matriculation ceremony, at which Ms. Kaya Ward, who is doing a Bachelor of Social Sciences degree in one of our schools at the Five Islands campus, was named the top matriculant. And this is Kaya. I'd like you to hear from her and of her through this interview which was done.
19-year-old Kaya Ward is the first ever top matriculant of the University of the West Indies Five Islands campus. She tells ABS she only became aware of her accomplishment 3 days before the matriculation ceremony back in September.
My name will forever be at the top of the books, and I think that'll be an encouragement to my younger siblings and other family members, something to look forward to, something to motivate them, knowing that I was the first, and it just pushes them to follow in my footsteps. So I was very happy about that.
Majoring in economics with management, Ward says her ultimate goal is to make a meaningful difference here in Antigua and Barbuda.
I want to become a policy analyst. Now, all of that is just a fancy term for someone who creates policies based in research. The closest thing to a policy analyst would be a senator, and I feel that would be most effective in making a change.
She says her joy for helping stemmed from her time as a member of the Antigua Girls High School and Antigua Grammar School Interacts Club.
For the joy of giving someone something they would not have had without my help. And I realized that, I think this is what I want to do. This may possibly be my calling.
Prior to enrolling at the Five Islands campus, Ward graduated from Antigua State College.
I wouldn't say anything really motivated me. It felt natural. It was the next step in my educational journey. And again, it is here. So what a better place to be than in my home.
She graduated with high honors, a cumulative GPA of 4.02.
I think that any educational institution you attend, it can either be a waste of your time or it won't, obviously. It depends on what you do, the work that you put in and what you take away. And I've decided to use my time wisely there, and here I am now.
The top matriculant says she has 5 younger siblings and will be the first person in her mother's family to attain a university degree. During the ceremony, you singled out 2 persons.
Yes, my mom and my aunt. Those are one of my biggest supporters in my family circle. They have always encouraged me to be the best that I can be, and not to look at anyone else in terms of comparison, because comparison is the thief of joy. But if I want to be better, the only person who I'm competing with is myself, and I think that has definitely pushed me to be where I am.
She says she also has a number of friends who've been with her on this journey since her time as a lady in blue.
Again, it all goes back to my support system. I don't think I would have been able to achieve what I have so far without them. In times where I feel like I'm stressed or like I can't do this, I just look to them and they look to me likewise. So iron sharpens iron. We lean on each other, and I believe we'll get through this together.
The journey ahead is long and arduous, but Ward is ready.
I want to go further. Development is not an endpoint, but it's a journey. And as far as I can go on that journey, that's exactly what I want to do, what I want to be, and that's what I'm looking forward to.
So as far as you're concerned, the sky is the limit.
The sky is the limit, the galaxy, everything after that.
The ambitious young woman believes youth are not the leaders of tomorrow, but rather the leaders of today. Rakib Aparicio reporting for ABS News.
Yes, truly a proud moment for Kaya, a proud moment for her mother, her aunt, and a proud moment as well for all matriculants and for the parents, the guardians, and the well-wishers who attended this matriculation ceremony. The Vice-Chancellor of the University of the West Indies I believe, has summed up very well the mission of the Five Islands campus, where he states, in addition to serving the specific development needs of Antigua and Barbuda, it will provide a hub to enable the greater participation by the University of the West Indies in the development agendas of the OECS. The Five Islands campus then is expected to help the development of the pool of skills, higher level skills required to support development across the region, but particularly in Antigua and Barbuda and the OECS countries. Our current draft mission and our statement and our current draft vision statement both derive from that understanding shared by the Vice-Chancellor. And so our draft mission statement reads, to provide undergraduate, postgraduate, and professional development training in areas relevant to the development needs of the Eastern Caribbean. And our draft vision statement reads, to be the university campus of choice for Eastern Caribbean students seeking higher education and professional development. Now, these are draft mission statements which we will perhaps refine and then issue a final version. Later on in my presentation, I will share with you how these statements were developed. There can be no doubt that this Five Islands campus provides an excellent opportunity for Antiguans and Barbudans to obtain a quality university education at a much lower cost than they had to meet when they have to journey to another country and meet airfare costs and meet accommodation costs. Many students too will be able to complete their studies while at the same time staying on their job. And that brings with it a significant advantage to employers, because employers now will have an immediate stream of benefits flowing from the additional expertise acquired by the students as they go through their programs at the UWI Five Islands campus. But all OECS countries will benefit from this access to a quality education offered within the OECS at a competitive cost and with certain clear focus. One, the education will be one that focuses on the development needs of the OECS. The classroom instructions will then be tailored to address the concerns and challenges, the current concerns and challenges of OECS countries. And the coursework that students are required to do and the research they are required to undertake will have a distinctive OECS focus. The Five Islands campus in that regard then may be characterized as the go-to campus for OECS students. It's a place to which you must come if you're looking for an education that best prepares you to live and work in the Eastern Caribbean. Like the other campuses of the University of the West Indies, the Five Islands campus is pursuing the UWI AAA strategy for revitalizing Caribbean development, a AAA strategy of access, alignment, and agility. And under the goal of access, I must point out that that's been the primary focus, as it ought to be for the Five Islands campus for the few months that we have been in existence. Our focus was very sharply on the goal of access. And under that goal of access, we looked at two strategic objectives defined by the university. AC1 or Access 1 to be a university for all, and AC2 or Access 2 to improve the quality of teaching and learning and student development. But we did not ignore the other two limbs of the AAA strategy, alignment and agility. And under the goal of alignment, we pursued the strategic objective AL1 or Alignment 1, which is to promote greater activism and public advocacy. And under the goal of agility, we pursue the strategic objective AG4 or Agility 4, which is to foster a creative, caring, accountable, motivated professional team. But before I jump into some of the specifics there, I would want to share with you my reflection on the extent of support which the government of Antigua and Barbuda has provided and continues to provide to this Five Islands campus. Since its establishment, we have had unwavering support from the government of Antigua and Barbuda, for which we are very thankful. The government has made a number of contributions to the development of the campus and to its operations, which in my mind go well beyond expectations. Among them is the contribution that it has made to improving the grounds of the campus, to improve the aesthetics of the campus. And we now have a much more pleasant campus. Good for you to come and relax, good for you to be there for a while. The government, as you have heard from the chairman in his opening remarks, has offered a total of 60 tuition-free scholarships to the other OECS countries. And we are looking forward to having the OECS countries take advantage of these scholarships, which have been offered by the government of Antigua and Barbuda. But in addition to that, the government has offered 50 scholarships to its own nationals under the same condition, meaning that these are tuition-free scholarships. The government of Antigua and Barbuda has also been helpful in our communications strategy by making a number of statements, a number of pronouncements continually about the value of the Five Islands campus to the development of Antigua and Barbuda and other Caribbean countries. The government has provided the campus with two new vehicles. The one to the left has been provided for use by the interim principal, while the one to the right has been provided for the operational use of the Five Islands campus. And the government has made several other contributions, many of which are documented in the full report which we have circulated. In this first year of our operations at the Five Islands campus, as we sought to establish a fully functioning campus, we were not alone. We received tremendous support from the Five Islands Implementation Task Force, comprising membership drawn from across the university and chaired by the principal of the open campus and co-chaired by the Pro Vice-Chancellor, Board for Undergraduate Studies. And in fact, the first co-chair was Professor Alan Cobley at the time that he served as Pro Vice-Chancellor of the Board for Undergraduate Studies, and the current co-chair is Professor Clive Landis, who is still took over rather from Professor Alan Cobley as PVC Board for Undergraduate Studies. In addition to the Implementation Task Force, there were several working groups, which were really subgroups of the Implementation Task Force, which provided ongoing support and guidance for the work of the Five Islands campus since we were established indeed, prior to our establishment, to get us properly established, and after that to get us going on the right path. So in that sense, I say we were not alone. There is specific assistance provided to us by specific campuses and by the regional headquarters. And I have documented those in detail in the full report. But I want to call attention to the comprehensive marketing and communications plan, which was developed by the UWI Marketing and Communications Office, headed by Dr. Rhonda Jaipal, and here is a representation of her likeness to the far right. And she did a number of things for us, which were of tremendous help. This office managed the implementation of our marketing and communications plan, and among other things, helped with a number of newspaper features and advertisement. And the image to the right of the image of Dr. Jaipal Okaro is one of the many images that she has generated for advertisements in newspapers and other organs. She's also been able to arrange for us a number of radio and TV spots to get the message out about Five Islands, what it is about, and what we are doing. And she was instrumental in a social media push through Facebook and Instagram. And we got a lot of hits on that, on both Facebook and Instagram. So the word got out across the globe about the nature of the operation of Five Islands campus and what it is the University of the West Indies is seeking to do through the establishment of that campus in Antigua and Barbuda. As part of the marketing and communications program, I visited, as principal, I visited all 6 of the OECS countries in December of last year. And I sought to do a number of things, but I just like to flag 2 which I believe summarize well the central purpose of those visits. And the first was to improve the awareness in those countries about the Five Islands campus and the focus of the work of the Five Islands campus in providing university services to the OECS countries. And the second, and very important, was to get feedback from the governments of the region on how best the Five Islands campus may serve their needs. And I want to share with you that the feedback that we obtained from those visits helped in shaping our future work at the Five Islands campus. In this in the first semester of our operation, we had 175 students pursuing programs on the campus. But these were joined by 25 other students who came on board in the current semester, starting January 2020. And we have made provisions already for those students who came on board in January to take a number of courses, core courses, in the summer, so as to help in getting them aligned in their programs with the students who started one semester earlier. The objective of this effort is to make sure that the students who came in January are able to complete their programs at the same time as the students who came in one semester earlier. And so they should all be graduating at the same time. As you might have heard from the opening remarks of the chairman, the Five Islands campus has 3 schools through which it delivers its teaching programs. The first to which I would like to call attention is the School of Humanities and Education. And in the School of Humanities and Education, we offer the Bachelor of Education degree in 3 specializations: mathematics education, language and literacy education, and curriculum education. From the next academic year, we will add to these bachelor's degree offerings in this school to include special needs education and science education. Now, apart from those who are undergoing or those who are taking undergraduate courses in the School of Humanities and Education, we have students who are pursuing postgraduate studies. And we have in all 40 students who are doing undergraduate studies and 14 who are doing postgraduate studies. And the postgraduate studies in the area of education, where they are doing a diploma, a postgraduate diploma in education. The second school to which I would wish to call attention is the School of Health and Behavioral Sciences, to which I referred earlier when I said that the head of the School of Health and Behavioral Sciences is in fact leading the COVID-19 working group. She's chairing the COVID-19 working group of the Five Islands campus. And in that School of Health and Behavioral Sciences, there are 21 students who are pursuing a Bachelor of Nursing degree. We plan to offer, with effect from the next academic year, a bachelor's degree in psychology in this School of Health and Behavioral Sciences. And the final school to which I call your attention is the School of Management Sciences and Technology. By far, the school with the largest number of students. And here we are offering a Bachelor of Social Sciences degree in a number of specializations. And they include economics, computer science, information technology, accounting, banking, finance, management, marketing, and hospitality and tourism. And that is where we have 125 of our students pursuing programs in these areas. Our student population is predominantly female. While large numbers of female in the population is not by itself anything that reflects a negative on the campus, we really would like to see our campus have a larger proportion of male students. But if you look at the current distribution of our student population, you will see that in the bachelor's degree programs in each of the schools, we have an overwhelming proportion of female. And you will see the same as well in the graduate program, the diploma in education offered in the School of Humanities and Education. Indeed, at the moment, 81% of our student population are female. We are looking at ways of increasing our enrollment to 400 students in 2020-21, that's the next academic year, and doubling that number in the following academic year. And in order to do this, we are going to pursue very specifically a few things. The first is an appeal to more males to apply for entry into the Five Islands campus. And here, Chair, I am suspecting that we will be well served by enlisting the support of some of our artists, perhaps those in the sphere of reggae and soca, to do a piece for us, which we can have on radio and TV, that would encourage our young people, our young male students or potential students to apply for entry into the Five Islands campus. But the point I'm making is that we will get very creative in seeking to bring more males onto our campus, while at the same time encouraging larger numbers of female to continue to apply, large numbers of female to continue to apply. We will also be publicizing the various paths that the university has for admission to bachelor's degree programs in particular. And therefore we'll be making it clear that there is a 4-year path that is open to students who have the required CSEC or equivalent subjects. And there is a 3-year path open to students who have the required CAPE units or equivalent qualifications. And we are going to try and to publicize that. But concurrently, we will be working hard towards getting approval from our university for a 2+2 articulation arrangement with the Antigua State College and with other tertiary institutions in the OECS. And this is an option that has been secured in some countries with the University of the West Indies. And in fact, at the Five Islands campus, we already have some of that, in the sense that those who have completed their associate degrees in education are able to take what we call a 60-credit option, which is a 2-year option towards their Bachelor of Education degree. So we are going to work towards this 2+2 articulation arrangement, not only for Antigua and Barbuda, but for other tertiary institutions across the OECS. And that promises to bring to us large numbers of students who have completed their associate degree programs and would wish to continue to a bachelor's degree and complete it within the shortest possible time. We don't want them to be looking to North American options for this. We are right here at Five Islands and willing and able to offer that option of a 2+2 articulation. And so we will pursue the approval for it, and we hope to bring in large numbers of students who might sometimes be looking elsewhere for completing their bachelor's degree, having completed their associate degree in one of the tertiary institutions in an OECS country. Our tuition fee will remain in next year the same as it is this year, with the understanding, of course, that in the following year this will be reviewed and there is likely to be a small increase. So the message is take advantage of this tuition fee, which is, we believe, is quite affordable within the Eastern Caribbean. So far, Chair, I have reported on Access 1, University for All. And now I would wish to just spend a short time on Access 2 to improve the quality of teaching and learning and the student development. We plan to recruit 12 additional full-time academic staff. And I should preface this by pointing out that the Five Islands campus is served by a teaching staff that is predominantly part-time. In fact, we have about 45 part-time staff on our roll. We have 4 full-time staff, one of whom is serving as a director of academic affairs, and the other 3 head the 3 schools that we have in the campus. But as we grow, we need to recognize the need for us to grow our full-time staff as well. And so for the next academic year, we are targeting the recruitment of 12 additional academic staff. We are also recognizing that as we expand our student population and our staff, that we will have to put in place the senior administrative and professional staff and the administrative, technical, and service staff required to support the expanding operations. And we will begin to put in place additional staffing in that regard from next academic year. One of the things to which I would want to call your attention is the fact that the government of Antigua and Barbuda has been providing significant support to the Five Islands campus in terms of its administrative, technical, and service staff, many of whom remain on the payroll of the Antigua State College and therefore financed by the government of Antigua and Barbuda. While we laud the government for this continuing support, as we proceed to plan for our next year, we'll have to plan for a way of making sure that we bring under the umbrella of the Five Islands campus all staff providing service to the campus, including these ATS staff. We will also have to expand our library to support the teaching of existing courses and the new courses that we will develop, and to support the increased number of students that we expect to be coming to our campus over the next few years. And very importantly, we see the need for the expansion of our library resource as something that will provide support for the research and publication work which must be undertaken by our current and the new staff. This university, the University of the West Indies, is well known as a research university, and the Five Islands campus will make its contribution to sustaining the reputation of this university for its research and publication, which in part helped it to acquire the international recognition that it now has as being among the top 4% of the best universities in the world. So we will have to make sure our libraries are better equipped. We will also need to make sure that we improve our ICT for teaching and learning. And it is clear that this is another area in which the government of Antigua and Barbuda is willing to help us, and in fact has committed its support to helping us to provide the ICT that is needed for teaching and learning, to improve teaching and learning at the Five Islands campus. But we will also upgrade our teaching facilities to provide for the synchronous delivery of courses and programs from other campuses of the university, so that our students here may be able to benefit from the tremendous expertise that exists in our sister campuses in taking certain courses or parts of courses. And we are moving apace to do that. And in that regard, we will be helped by a contribution of $250,000 US made by the People's Republic of China to support that work of establishing a distance teaching facility and improving the use of ICT in our teaching learning spaces. Chair, I want to acknowledge the level of help that we got from the Kayville campus since we were established, not the least of which was in providing us with the support we require to process student application, admission, registration, and provision of our examination services. But as we grow, we need to assume a greater responsibility at the Five Islands campus for our own work and sustainability. And in that regard, we need to make sure that we acquire the necessary expertise and software to take on some of the assistance we are getting up to now from the Cave Hill campus. And I am pleased to report that the Office of the University Chief Information Officer is working with us to secure that support that we need. And I am projecting that the support will be in place before the end of the current academic year and will help us to be more independent in terms of providing these services. And I think this is necessary as we expand our student population and our staff, our full-time staff. In the New Year's message which we received from our Vice-Chancellor, he pointed to 5 strategic targets which were approved by the executive management team that he said, reminded us, should be pursued. One of them is the multilingual culture in which all graduates going forward will be foreign language proficient, at least within our hemisphere. And at the Five Islands campus, we will vigorously pursue that particular target. Among other things, we will seek to broker an arrangement with the recently established Confucius Center, to which our chairman referred, center recently established on the Five Islands campus. We will seek to broker an arrangement which would allow students who wish to learn Mandarin to benefit from classes offered by that center. We will also pursue the offer of Spanish as a foundation course for bachelor's degree programs. And in order to enrich a multilingual culture at the Five Islands campus, we will seek to recruit students. We will target the recruitment of students from the Spanish-speaking communities that exist in Antigua and Barbuda and other OECS countries. And the image to my left is that of a student who is fluidly bilingual, a student of the Five Islands campus. He has a Dominican Republic heritage, and at an event we had on our campus, he was showing off that heritage. And we will work with him and through him to bring larger numbers of students from the Spanish-speaking community into the Five Islands campus. And in that regard, we will also call on the willingness that was indicated by a number of embassies of Spanish-speaking countries to provide support for the Five Islands campus if it wishes to pursue the offer of Spanish as a foreign language. And in this image here, in this picture, you're seeing me at a meeting with the heads of mission of several of those Spanish-speaking countries in Antigua, who are resident, and some of them are not resident in Antigua and Barbuda, but they were here to meet with me about how they may be able to help. And so I'm anticipating that we will be able to secure assistance from these embassies to support the delivery of Spanish as a foundation language and for the delivery of activities which will enrich a multilingual culture within the Five Islands campus. I did say that while our primary focus at the Five Islands campus remains that of access, that we also gave attention to the other three goals of the AAA strategy: alignment and agility. Under alignment, we pursued a strategic objective, AL1, which has to do with promoting greater activism and public advocacy. And our particular focus is on increasing the number of collaborative academic, government, private, non-government, and international partners conferences, seminars, and symposia that we hold each year. And I am pleased to report that we had one such major symposium, in fact, one such major seminar, which was organized and funded by the European Union Latin America and Caribbean Foundation. And that seminar was hosted by us at the Five Islands campus in January of this year. And it dealt with the issue of immigrant policies in the Caribbean and Central America, migration at the crossroads between Europe and Latin America. And that seminar provided an opportunity for discourse among academics, policymakers, and migration authorities, and indeed for the wider community, on treating with issues of immigration and migration in Latin America and the Caribbean. And those, we recognize, are issues that impact several sectors of the economy of Caribbean countries. We plan at the Five Islands campus to follow up with at least 2 public lectures annually on issues that are socially and developmentally relevant to the OECS. Under the goal of agility, we pursued a strategic objective, as I mentioned before, of seeking to foster a creative, caring, accountable, motivated professional team. And this year, our focus was on increasing the engagement, satisfaction, and productivity of all categories of staff, and on creating a caring, healthy, and safe working environment for students and staff. Staff of our campus participated in a quality assurance workshop conducted on UWI Quality Day on November 14th by the Pro Vice-Chancellor for Undergraduate Studies, Professor Landis, and a team of specialists he put together from across the university. And all categories of our staff participated in that workshop, which had a very sharp focus on the important role that each member of the staff must play to assure the maintenance of quality in the operations of the campus. Now, I regard that as our first team building exercise, our first significant team building exercise on this campus. And that image you see is an image of that workshop in progress. And at the head, if you can see her, is one of the specialists on Professor Landis' team talking with staff. We also benefited from a leadership workshop which was conducted by no other than the university registrar himself, Dr. Smith, on February 28th, which is earlier this year. And again, all categories of staff participated in this workshop. It was an excellent workshop. It emphasized the role that each member of staff must play in providing leadership in the areas in which they are employed. And I should say there is the Director of Administration and Finance participating as a member of one of the teams, and obviously doing our job of putting up some points that our team had documented. And here is the registrar himself, the university registrar, who is engaging one of the teams in discussion as they work. And among other outputs of this teamwork were the draft mission and vision statements that I shared with you earlier, and draft operational plans for various aspects of the work of the campus. We were planning to have the university registrar return in short order to conclude for us the work that he started, but the vagaries of COVID has interfered with our plans there. And then, as part of our effort to create a caring, healthy, and safe working environment for students and staff, we pursued a number of improvements to the physical infrastructure of the campus. And in this regard, I must say with thanks that the Ministry of Works established a special unit to liaise with us at the Five Islands campus about the work which needs to be done, the maintenance work, and to provide support for that work. So we are currently engaged in carrying out the identified improvements. And the government of Antigua and Barbuda is collaborating with us at the University of the West Indies in developing a master plan for the Five Islands campus. And in fact, a joint working group has been established to advance the work towards having this master plan developed and implemented. And that joint working group comprises representatives of the government of Antigua and Barbuda, and those representatives are coordinated by the Ministry of Works. The group involves members of the UWI Infrastructure Working Group, and also members of the staff of the Five Islands campus. And the image that you see there, the person in white sleeves, short sleeves, is the chairman of the UWI Infrastructure Working Group, PVC Denzel Williams. And next to him on his left is the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Works, Mr. Pilgrim, Mr. Clarence Pilgrim. And if you look at the person with the tie, I'm sure he's recognizable. I hope he is, but that is your interim principal of the Five Islands campus. And you may be able to recognize others in that group picture that we took at one of our meetings. But the groundwork has already been completed by this joint working group for the construction of a certain priority infrastructure. And they include kiosks, food kiosks, student residential facilities, and an administrative block. And we are expecting construction work to start during the course of this academic year, and naturally to extend into next academic year and possibly into the following academic year. And I want to share with you the good news, perhaps to conclude this part with the good news, that the government of Antigua and Barbuda, indeed, the Prime Minister of Antigua and Barbuda, at his recent budgetary presentation, announced a significant allocation by his government to support the infrastructural work of the Five Islands campus. And meetings which we had subsequently confirmed that those funds are going to be available for us to get started with infrastructural work, as I said, beginning this academic year, but going well into the next academic year and perhaps beyond that. I will, at this time, hand over to my colleague, Mr. Hiram Ford, the Director of Academic Affairs, who would share with you some developments with respect to the examinations in particular.
Let me just say that thank you for the opportunity to make a brief presentation on the academic affairs and in particular the conduct of the first exams during the life of the Five Islands campus. The UWI Five Islands campus conducted its first independent semester examinations for students in December 2019. As part of its preparation for the first examinations, the Five Islands campus obtained the valuable assistance of the Center for Excellence in Teaching and Learning at the Cave Hill campus. This arm of the university provided a one-day workshop for staff at the Five Islands campus on October 31st, 2019. Specifically, this workshop aimed to provide lecturers at the Five Islands campus with insights aimed to provide lecturers at the Five Islands campus with the necessary oversights involved in assessment, the rudiments of examination construction, and the overall preparation of marking schemes and scoring rubrics to enable the campus to conduct successful examinations. The workshop was conducted in the main by Dr. Donnelly Carrington, Deputy Dean and Senior Lecturer in the Faculty of Social Sciences, Cave Hill campus, It was indeed both timely and invaluable, as Dr. Carrington brought a vast wealth of experience and expertise, having been involved in the Caribbean Examinations Council examination for a number of years. It addressed real issues relating to the setting of examinations, the necessary collaboration between the first and second examiner in the setting of the paper, and indeed the signing off of the examination paper, which in essence detailed the marking schemes and the solution guides on which students would ultimately be graded. It helped the staff of the Five Islands campus with the proper setting of the examinations and indeed the valid marking of the scripts to ensure strict accountability and transparency of the exam process. The UWI Five Islands campus examinations were conducted during the period December 2nd to 19th, 2019, and the campus was required to identify at least one external examiner to provide some degree of oversight of the conduct of the examination process at the Five Islands campus. Indeed, we were quite fortunate to have benefited from the experience of Dr. Ermina Ashoba, retired resident tutor of the former School of Continuing Studies Antigua, who was contracted to provide that service. And she ably conducted her duties, commencing on the 15th of December 2019, and submitted a report on the 31st of January 2020. Following the culmination of our exams, the Board of Examiners in January of 2020, chaired under the chairmanship of the Director of Academic Affairs, conducted the formal consideration of the examinations across the three schools, and the ultimate results were then signed off by the academic board. I would just like to mention briefly some points about the 34 undergraduate courses and 3 postgraduate courses which were conducted during the academic year under review. With respect to the undergraduate offerings, the performance in a few courses is cause for some concern due to the performance of a number of students that did not meet the expected standard. And these particular subject areas included the Introduction to Financial Accounting course, the Introduction to Microeconomics, the Managerial Economics course, and the Preliminary Mathematics for Social Sciences. And indeed, the university will be taking some steps, especially in the mathematics courses for students who are pursuing economics, as it's important that their mathematics competence be at a level to be able to grapple with the economics courses. And indeed, the campus is considering a number of ways in which this could help to improve the overall performance in these particular subjects identified. In conclusion, the exam process at the Five Islands campus during the first semester of the current academic year was aptly summed up by the external examiner when she posited the view that the staff at the Five Islands campus, both academic and administrative, rose to the challenge. They acquitted themselves very well in this first experience of the examination process. Thank you, and let me just turn the proceedings over to the Director of Administration and Finance, who will give her report.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ford. The merging of the roles of the campus registrar and of course, or the campus registry, as well as the campus bursary into the administration and finance functionality for the Five Islands campus has really been done to facilitate a fulsome and fully functional campus. And what the campus administration functionality has done is that we have focused primarily on the operationalization of the campus. And this critical decision was to ensure the efficient and effective, of course, the holistic processing of the campus as it grows. So within administration, the functionality and role of the Office of the Campus Registrar, it encompasses what you would see here, which is the campus registry, including the student administrative services, the student services support, and of course the development, human resources, facilities and maintenance, and information technology. Now, within the functionality of the campus registry and student services, the campus has tried to, in its effort to become fully functional, has focused primarily on the admissions through to examinations process of the student life cycle, which would include the applications to admissions and registration to examinations process. Now, we have, as Principal Griffith had put forward, we have received unwavering support of the Cave campus in processing our student information. And of course, we have to thank the campus CIO, Keith Ennis, and his team for their unwavering support, as we would not have been able to go through the two cycles without their support. Additionally, the university and the campus has been, again, as Professor Stafford Griffith has outlined, we are in the process of creating the business processes in support of what will become our banner instance, in support of all of the practices that will be in process for our campus in support of our students. The hope is that by May 2020, we will have that process completed, and we are working with our colleagues across the university to facilitate the completion of this process. As it relates to the administration and secretariat functionality, the Office of Administration and Finance has worked primarily on the establishment of the campus council, the board, and all of the committees of the campus, working alongside the Office of the University Registrar on these processes to service these meetings. Of course, we also, as part of that, we did the very exciting task, and it is something I'm very proud of our first submission to the chair of the University Finance and General Purposes Committee, our own Vice-Chancellor, in approving our campus color, which is 7474C, which is teal. And I speak very highly of that color because you will see it over and over again, because I think it is the nicest color of all of the campuses. We also have worked very closely with our student services and support, particularly with the formation of our student guild, where we, because of course you can know that these students are always the lighter side of administration. What we have done is that we have worked with them to put forward their student office. They have a guild office now that of course they're making into their own. We are working with them towards income generation ideas so that they can start, even though they have some seed funding, that they can work on building their resources to support the efforts of their guild. We are also happy, and I'm sure the guild president, the newly appointed guild president, will speak to this, but we are happy, of course, to have supported them through the development of the guild, the first and inaugural guild constitution, and of course through that facilitated their guild election on March 31 of this year. As it relates to facilities and maintenance, of course, and our IT, we have been working with all the teams within the regional headquarters with PVC Denzel Williams on the implementation task force, as well as with the working group of both the infrastructure working group and the IT working group through the University CIO's office to build and bolster our IT and academic, so our information technology and academic technology resources for the Five Islands campus. I really have to identify the support of both Mr. Taco Mussington and Mr. Quasitong, who have supported the effort in so many ways for the Five Islands campus. Okay, so finally, we come to the second arm of administration and finance, which is the finance section of the portfolio. Now, the overarching finance functionality of the campus has been established as a shared one with the Office of University Bursar, so that the Five Islands campus could benefit from the expertise within her office. Now, and within the office that is headed by our University Bursar, Mrs. Andrea McNish. And within that office sits the Five Islands campus manager, Ms. Simone Brown, who was instrumental in putting into action the support processes for the creation of our first budget of the Five Islands campus. And so with her support, we created and developed the first budget of the Five Islands campus, which was then approved by the government of Antigua and Barbuda, sent on to TAC for noting for the Technical Advisory Committee in Trinidad and Tobago in March of this year, and which will then go to the campus, the campus grants committee and the university grants committee meeting in May. So we have our responsibility within the Office of Finance is definitely to prepare the financial statements and of course the reconciliation of receivables, the monitoring of cash flow payables, and of course general ledger maintenance. So we have had the opportunity to work with great team members within administration and finance to be able to operationalize and put into practice the best practices of the university and implement those in the Five Islands campus. I thank you for the opportunity to speak on this wonderful area, and I hand over to Professor Griffith.
Well, let me say thanks to you, Ms. Daniela Hickling, our Director of Finance, of Administration and Finance, and before her, Mr. Hiram Ford, our Director of Academic Affairs. Thank you both. I'd just like to conclude then by saying that the Five Islands campus has been functioning for just 7, and if you want to stretch, you say 8 months. I believe that over that time, we have stayed true to the task of seeking to establish a fully functioning campus of the University of the West Indies, as we were charged to do in the first year of our operation. Of course, we have had challenges, not the least of which is the current COVID-19 pandemic. But we have been maintaining our strategic focus in laying the groundwork for the Five Islands campus to be UWI's hallmark of excellence in providing higher education services to the Eastern Caribbean. And now I wish to close with a very important message from our current president of the Five Islands Campus Guild of Students, Mr. Caleb Gardner. And even though that message is targeted at students, I think it bears relevance for all of us.
Greetings, students. We are aware of the current pandemic, COVID-19, and the socio-economic challenges that it brings. It has significantly affected us as students with the suspension of classes and the anxiety and fear that it brings to all of us. Today, I assure you that we will overcome this. We will stand together as resilient students to play a key role in eradicating this virus. I urge each student to participate in healthy practices such as washing your hands, eating healthy, drinking water, and most importantly, staying inside. Use this time to find your true purpose in the world. Use this time to train your mind and body to maximize your full potential. Get closer to family, and most importantly, stay on top of your projects and assignments. Together we will. Together we can.
Together we can. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
I now invite Professor Sir Hilary Beckles to present his remarks to the Campus Council.
Our distinguished chairman, Mr. Hadid, Principal Griffith, and his excellent staff of directors, Dr. Ford and Dr. Hicklin, fellow principals Longsworth, Weber, and Copeland, Pro Vice-Chancellors, University Registrar, and University Bursar. I wish to recognize also Ambassador George, Secretary General Dr. Jules, representatives of the government of Antigua and Barbuda, all of my colleagues at the Five Islands campus, including our student leader, Mr. Gardner, and participants in this council meeting. Very good morning, everyone. There are moments in history that are recognized as the best of times and the worst of times. This is the best of times for us in the government and people and Antigua and Barbuda, the OECS states, the Caribbean region, the University of the West Indies, and bringing this Five Islands campus into full operations. It is the worst of times in that we are doing this within the context of a global pandemic that is threatening to destroy all that we have created and is an existential threat to the civilization of the Caribbean, which is based on freedom, which is based on close association, and ultimately in the public celebration of all that we do. But we will persevere, and we will take the correct strategic judgments, and we will stand in support of all of our governments that have laid out programs and policies for public safety. The University of the West Indies has been a very key and strategic partner in all of these developments, and we stand shoulder to shoulder with our people and their governments in this region. It is an historic moment for public education in the Caribbean. Yet another major campus has been established, focusing upon the support of all of the stakeholders. We have had an ongoing discourse for many decades in respect of how best to provide equitably for all of our citizens in the OECS, and especially within the context of the younger generation of citizens in this part of our region. This conversation has been endemic, not only to the university, but to all the strategists who will be speaking of how best to bring higher education professional training to bear upon these youngest of our Caribbean nation states. I wish to celebrate and to thank Prime Minister Brown and his cabinet for all of the decisions they took in standing up to enable this portal to be opened, to allow the Five Islands campus to take form and to take shape within Antigua and Barbuda and within the OECS. In this regard, I wish also to thank Education Minister Brown and Attorney General Mr. Benjamin, both of whom have been excellent supporters of this project. And so we thank the government of Antigua and Barbuda. I wish also, Mr. Chairman, to support you and Principal Griffith in giving thanks to the teams that were led by Principal Longsworth, Principal Weber, PBC Williams, and Dr. Smith. You have all done extremely well in bringing the work of your respective committees to bear upon the delivery of academic program here at Five Islands. Principal Griffith, I wish to thank you on behalf of the region and the university for taking up this enormous responsibility of establishing, through your guidance and leadership, this Five Islands campus. It was an historic mandate, and it required someone not only with broad shoulders, but tremendous depth of experience, tremendous understanding of the pedagogy of higher education and how best to deliver it to societies such as ours. We required a champion of advocacy and someone whose commitment to higher education and to the people of this region knows no boundaries. We thank you for this historic task, and we will always celebrate what you have done on our collective behalf. On behalf of the entire university, I therefore thank you for this act of selfless service to the institution and to the people of the region. Your report has detailed the journey to the establishment of academic programs and the provision of administrative services that have enabled this campus to take effect with such efficiency in its infancy. You have expressed support for all of your colleague principals across the UWI system who have assisted you in this regard. And I too would wish to thank our principals who, recognizing the urgency of this need, provide the skills, technical resources to enable the Five Island campus to become functional. We celebrate our inaugural students. We celebrate our inaugural faculty and staff. And Chairman, I wish to thank you especially for your help in bringing order and coherence to these operations, and for keeping a very close eye and being open to dialogue to enable this campus to begin its journey. I wish also to thank the University Council and its chair, our distinguished Chancellor, and all of the governments of this region who gave of their support to enable this campus to be officially established, and to do so with the unanimous approval of the Council of the University of the West Indies. The work of the campus has been excellent thus far. The report of the principal attests to this. He speaks of the support given not only in the country, but also across the OECS. The strategy of establishing 3 schools that are ready and relevant is indeed also a masterstroke. And Principal, we celebrate you. We celebrate your team, Hiram Ford, Danielle Hicklin, and of course, our Guild President, Mr. Caleb Garner. The business operations of this campus have functioned efficiently behind the scenes, working in conjunction with the operational and technical staff of our broader UWI. Tommy Chin, Rhonda Jai Paul, and so many others behind the scenes have enabled these operations to take place to bring us to this moment of our first campus council. There might be a sense in which you are blessed to make this transition to online learning in your infancy. Of course, the suggestion here is that we were always committed to a campus whose financial and operational relations would be lean and mean, and that this shift to online learning might indeed be a critical part of that strategic objective. In this regard, we wish to express gratitude to the leadership of the Open Campus, Dr. Lonsworth, who has stayed closely with you in both her capacity as principal of the Open Campus, where online learning and technologies are well known, but also in her role as chairman of the implementation committee. We recognize that from the beginning, your adherence to the strategic plan of the university was commendable. You have stayed closely to the pillars of access that you have given primary support for, But you have always also been committed to the pillars of alignment and agility. I recognize, for example, your outreach to the OECS states, meeting with the prime ministers, meeting with the Secretary General, Dr. Jules, to ensure that this campus is aligned and will be agile within the context of the OECS states. This part of our region, this part of the CARICOM space that we are dedicated to serving with equal justice across the higher education strategy. We recognize also your strategy of expansion, your intention to double the enrollment each year per year for the next 3 years. This, again, is commendable, it is doable, and we will ensure that we will work with you to achieve these objectives. I wish to call upon our colleagues in the OECS, our governments especially, our education ministers, and our Secretary General, Dr. Jules, to work aggressively to adopt and support the projects and the agenda of the Five Islands campus. This campus is perfectly named, symbolically relevant to the entire sub-region it is determined to serve. I wish also to thank the Prime Minister again in this regard for offering scholarships by way of a symbolic gesture of solidarity with the OECS community in general. And while we do this, taking care of our domestic and regional space, Principal, you have alluded to it, that the Five Island campus will also have a global vision, and you have already started to take steps to fulfill this global mandate. Your inaugural international conference that looks at global migration is proof of this, working in association with the foundations of the European Union. This is just the beginning. There will be many other such events and processes that will bring the global perspective into the heart of the Five Islands campus. I'm happy to hear that there will be programs being rolled out very shortly in climate smart studies. Our people in the OECS have been in the vanguard of this hurricane culture for far too long. They have been at the center of it in a persistent way. It is only relevant, therefore, and appropriate that climate smart studies to build resilience, to build anticipation. And resilience is about knowing beforehand, having the data to survive and to respond. That such studies will become a part of the Five Islands academic programming. You have mentioned, Principal, all of the areas for development which you consider to be important and critical at this stage. And in this regard, I note that you have made reference to the beginning of the next academic year. The infrastructural development, new programming, expansion of student body, the development of a cohort of full-time staff, all of these you have placed on the agenda for the coming year. The broader university will work with you in ensuring that these objectives are met. And of course, you ended by recognizing the new strategic areas of the university in the second part of its strategic plan. The climate smart issues in respect of our university being in spirit and in programming a multilingual university, an entrepreneurial university seeking to earn revenue to participate in its own sustainability, the digital transformation, and the global online university. These are all issues that will strengthen our university, that will sustain its standing as the #1 university, not only in the English-speaking Caribbean, the #1 university in the entire Caribbean. This is indeed a major achievement, and Five Islands will be a part of the sustainability of this standing, this ranking, this recognition of the UWI. And so, Chairman, through you, I wish to commend again the principal and his team for the excellent delivery of this period of implementation. We were confident in their ability to do so. We chose this cohort precisely because of our confidence, knowing not only their skill and their experience, and indeed their commitment. And Principal, we will always owe you this debt of gratitude. We celebrate what you have done, and we thank you. With 72 years of history of this institution behind us, we thank you for being a part of this important step that Five Islands represents. And Principal, I thank you. I wish to assure our chairman that as we move forward to identify the next principal of the Five Islands campus, that we will work closely in association with Professor Griffith, and that we will rely on his support and judgment in this regard and strengthening the leadership in its new formation. Chairman, I wish to thank you. I wish to thank the principal, his team. I wish to thank all members of the Five Islands Council. Long may Five Islands continue to strive and to prosper. Thank you, Principal, for your report and for its excellence. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.